Hey, and welcome back. All right, so we're going to talk about the final portion of creativity, which is elaboration. Elaboration is where you're having the student add on to something. They're elaborating, they're making something that happened before or after or on the outside or more than we would normally learn. Elaboration is great because there's a lot of ways you can go with elaboration. Elaboration is one that I use quite often, and I have numerous technology tools that I use for that. So this section of the video is going to be quite a bit longer because I'm going to be showing you all of the different tools that I use in order to allow the students to elaborate. Again, you can use any of the previous tools that you've learned for elaboration. You can definitely use Canva for elaboration, Google Slides, Google Draw. You can use any of those things for elaboration. I'm just going to show you a few new tools that you can use with the students. These are tools that all of my students have used before, so I have seen success with students using these tools. All right. So the first tool that I'm going to show you is called Storyboard That. And as you can see, my computer remembers it because I use it. Storyboard That is the world's best free online storyboarding tool. This allows you to make a type of comic strip. I love this for English language arts, especially, although I do use it in science. I've used it in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade science. I love this for English language arts because I can have the students give me some additional story about one of the characters. Give me a prologue. Give me something that happened after the story. There are so many ways to expand a story with just a little comic strip. This is phenomenal. This is, a conversation that you didn't see between two characters that you knew had to have gone on, but they didn't really talk about in the book or the short story. So this is any number of things in English language arts. I've used this, again, like I said, in science, where I've had the students use it and they pretend that one of their little characters is a scientist and they're explaining something to somebody through comics, or they're explaining vocabulary through a comic. I've had students use it to show succession, to show primary succession and secondary succession. So this is a great tool for them to use to show something. With my students, I have them go to layout first. So you'll see here at the bottom, you can have layout, add, delete cells, move cells, copy cells, don't touch advanced. It's too much. It's way too much. But the basic layout, you go to traditional storyboard, and you can do that. Or the kids often like this one too, where they can put a title at the top of each one and they can add a descriptor. If they don't want to necessarily have them talking in every single cell, they can add some words there. So you can do that either way. Okay. I just like the traditional storyboard, and I just like the plain old cell. And then for add and delete cells, with the free option, they can only do a 3x1 or a 3x2. That's it. That's the maximum that they can do. So I always have mine do 3x2 so that they can get a little more practice with it, and they can make their story a little more in depth, and they can go a little further. And so they update the storyboard, and now the cells are all there and they're all ready for them to use. Okay. So what they need to do is they need to add to their comic strip. We need to add a scene, some kind of background to our comic strip of what's going on in the comic strip. There are all different kinds of things: town and entertainment and home and school and athletics and classical, historical. So you could use this for social studies. You could add these things in. So you can see all of the options up here. When I'm teaching the students how to use this tool, I like to use the mythical and the futuristic just because it's really fun, and you have castles and you have different, trees and woods and scary trees and hobbit holes. And then you see this right here, this bar, you can drag this bar over and there's tons of other options, okay? So you can pick from any number of these options. They even have space options on there. So it's super great. All right, I'm going to choose this Lollipop Land type option just because I think it's cute. You'll put your cursor over that and you're going to drag it down to the place where you want it to be. When you drag it down, it automatically formats it to the right shape, but it's going to give you a bunch of options. So you're like, oh, well, I see the way it's colored right now, but I want the sky to be like a prettier sky blue. And maybe I don't want the water to be like a chocolate fountain. So maybe I want the water to be, something purple or something. So I just come over here and I choose that color that I like, just like that. And it shows me on the screen and then I choose it. Okay. And let's say I wanted the grass to be cotton candy or something. I could choose something different. So again, you can fall down that rabbit hole and go into Alice's Wonderland and spend a whole lot of time changing this up. And then rotate it if you wanted to and do all kinds of fun things with it. And it could be the other direction, whatever you want to do. Okay. So the kids are welcome to do any of those things that they want to do with it. I just show them the basics, that this is where it is. And this is how you can do this. Okay. So that's all set up. I have scene one set with a background. Okay. But every good comic scene needs some characters. Well, let's go to characters. Again, up here we have adults and teens and different time periods, and we have medieval ones, and we have monsters and myths, okay, and mythology, and even stick people. So if you weren't a good artist and you wanted to do a play on I'm not a good artist, you could put some stick people in there. Or if you just think that stick people are fun, you can put them in there. It's whatever. And again, you can scroll to the side and pick whoever you want to be in this little world of yours that you've created. So let's say I saw a mermaid. Let's say I like the mermaid. So again, I'm going to left click on her with my cursor, and I'm just going to drag her down and put her in the scene. And again, I have all these different options. So, what color do I want her tail to be? What color do I want her shirt to be? And, I could change it over here and come to the grid and change it so that she's come out of the water and she's, there. And, I can do any number of things and get lost and lost and lost and lost and lost and lost and lost, which I do sometimes. The other thing that is fantastic about this is you can edit her pose. So you can come in here and all of a sudden you can see that her head could be to the side. She could be like questioning you, like, what? Her left arm could be out like this, like she's showing you something. Her right arm could be in the same format, or it could be like this, or it could be like this, okay? Or it could be like this, like she's like, what is going on? Which kind of goes with the face, okay? And then you could change the way her fin is. So there, I'm going to change her fin so that it looks like she's sitting on the grass, okay? And then I can, again, over here, I can change hair and skin and eyes and makeup and all the things that I could change before. And then I can update her pose. And now she doesn't look like she's sitting on the grass anymore. So I can just kind of move her down a little bit. And maybe she's sitting on this little rock right here. And there she is. And now she's part of my scene. And so now I have my character and I have my background. But my character needs to be saying something. She needs to be talking about this story that she's part of, that she's in. So now I come to textables. Textables are all the different text bubbles that they can give. Maybe she's thinking about something. That's why she's like, So I would choose maybe a thought bubble like this. And again, it's just a drag and drop. And I drag it over here. And here's my thought bubble. And I can change the font to my thought bubble. And I can change the the font size. Whew. And do all numbers of things. I can justify it differently. I can add all kinds of stuff. And then when I click in there, then she says, I wonder when the candy man will show up. Okay? And then question mark, question mark, question mark. Okay? And she's just asking herself these questions. And then if I wanted to go with the theme, maybe she thinks in purple, you know, I could come over here and change that if I wanted to. And it's all in there. Okay? So I'm going to have the students then replicate that. So they're going to come to scenes and character and textables. There are shapes that they could add in. Infographic, if they wanted to add any of these things, they're not as elaborate as the characters, but they can add them in. Web and wireframes, these are things that they can add in. Again, it's all just drag and drop. They can just add that in. There's some science in here. Not a whole lot, but there's some science in here, which makes it nice for the science students to use. It's a really great thing, and they can add in. I don't really have them do worksheets. They can upload photos and things, but I really prefer to just kind of keep them in this realm, okay? And so I encourage them to stay within this realm, and you can use this for originality, and you can write an original story if you want to. But again, you just drag it, drop it, and you can change things at will, okay? So now you have this, and let's say you've got it all set up and you have it the way that you want. So you're going to go to save it, okay? So it's saying if you already have an account, you can log in, or if not, you can create an account. So I'm going to read and understand the terms, and I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to create an account with Google. All right. So this would be if your teacher had bought the subscription, you could assign it, but we don't have any of that. So just tell them to ignore that. And then this is going to be for elaboration. And this is just practice fun. Okay. And they can put a description if they want to. Sometimes they like to tell me what's going on in their minds when they created it or whatever. And then they're going to click on Save Storyboard. Okay. Once they've saved the storyboard, they can come back in and they can edit it. But let's say they're ready and they're ready to turn it in. They've done it. All 6 things are filled in. They have stuff going on. Okay. So right here, they can download it. All right. So they can do it as an image pack where each cell in the storyboard is exported as a standalone image. They can do social media, PowerPoint, high-res image, okay, PDF. So I usually have them do a PDF, okay. So they would download, say okay, and then you just have to wait, and there it is. And then it pops up, and there it is. Oh, and they've apparently gotten rid of the watermark. Nice. All right. When we were using it last school year, there was a watermark. Maybe they've changed the watermark option for right now. But what was great with the watermark was when the kids did the PDF for me, it also has every slide separately, so I could kind of blow it up and see it a little bit more, or I could see it as a whole complete story or a whole complete lesson that they were teaching with the storyboard that. And so this is great, though. I'm excited. I haven't used it since last school year. Last school year, there was a watermark over every single one of the cells. So fabulous. This is great. My understanding that there was a 2 storyboard limit. So I don't see that on here either, that there's a 2 storyboard limit, but I wouldn't push it. I don't have the students use the same technology over and over and over again, because then it's not as fun and not as creative when they're using it multiple times and they kind of get worn out on it. So I don't necessarily have them use it over and over and over again. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to show you is something that's similar to Google Slides, but it is a little more complicated and it has other options aside from Google Slides. And so it's something that they can do and something that they can use. And it is Adobe Spark. So Adobe Spark. And right here is Adobe Spark. Oops, and I went to the trial. I'm sorry. Okay. So this is Adobe Spark. What you can create graphics, web pages, videos. You can create a Spark page, a Spark video, a Spark post. Okay. So I'm going to sign in because I actually have an account. I'm on my husband's computer, so that's who keeps showing it. All right. So it takes a minute to log in. Okay, and no thank you. I don't need all of that. All right. So again, you have options of different things that you can do. A lot of the times I have the students use the slideshow option. They can use the video option, not necessarily the Facebook post. I don't know about that. Photo collage is okay. I like the slideshow, which is the video, or the presentation, which is kind of like a web page. I personally like those. So again, it's up to you what you want to have the students do. Again, there are templates on here that they can use and they can choose what they want. So let's just say you're going to have them make a slideshow. Let's just choose one. So we're going to choose a slideshow. Every great story starts somewhere. Tell us your idea. So something that they could elaborate on is that iguana that we talked about earlier. So we're going to elaborate on an iguana and where they live. Okay. So now I would pick a template, or I can start from scratch. So again, you have to give the students some time so that they can go through and look at these different options and decide, is this something that I want to use? Do I want to use some of these that are already embedded in here? Or do I want to just start from scratch? Let's say show and tell. Okay, I'm just going to pick. I'm just randomly picking one so that you guys can see the options. So it takes them a while to build this because they're building up all that. And then, dun, 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 you have this video where you have all of these things that you can add. You can add in a theme. You can resize it. You can add music. You can add a video. You can add a photo. You can add text. Okay. Then you can upload a photo. You can use Adobe stock photos. So let's say I wanted to do an iguana. Let's see if they have an iguana in here, which they probably do. Okay, so here's my iguana, right? And let's say I like this iguana. So I'm going to put him in there. All right. He is very fuzzy. I don't like that. There he goes. Okay, so this is another one that has a watermark on it so that they have a watermark. So if that frustrates the kids, they don't necessarily want to add the watermark. That's okay. They don't have to. They can pick something else. They can pick their own images. They can upload a photo that they've downloaded, something that's in their Google Drive. They can do any number of things. Okay. So they could duplicate it if they want to. They can delete it if they get sick of it. Okay. And they could make him bigger if they want him to be full screen, or they could make him smaller if they only want him to be there. Okay. All right. So there's all different kinds of things that they can do. That's the full screen option. There's a split screen where they can add text and photo. There's a caption where they would just add the caption there. They can do title and text. Okay. So they're going to choose over here on the video what option they want for this to be. Okay. So maybe they want it to be split screen and they want to write some text about, long ago there was an iguana. who lived on Earth. Okay. And then they're going to go through and they're going to tell us the story of this iguana. So what happens next? You know, maybe a meteor hits and there's a bunch of lava everywhere and the iguana has to adapt. And so they're going to go and it tells you when you're using it, click, drag, and drop your text for different alignment options. Okay, I got it. Show your project or the thing you're sharing. Highlight what's interesting about it right here. You can also add your voice in. I can add an icon. Well, what kind of icon do I want? Let's see. Do they have an asteroid icon? Maybe not. Oh, they do. So I'm going to add this. Okay. Oh my goodness. That's an asteroid. An asteroid. Oh no. Oh no. An asteroid is hitting Earth. Okay, just any kind of silly little thing they want to add, they can add those things in there, and they can add, oh, I don't know what happened to my asteroid. I messed up. But again, you can mess up, that's okay. Here we go. There, all right. And then I could change the layout maybe so that that's more of a caption. I don't prefer Adobe Spark as much because I don't think it has as many options as some of the other things have. It's very limited to what you can do. You can do full screen, split screen, caption, title when you're doing this particular template, right? It's very limited to what you're able to do and what you can make happen. So it's okay. I don't love it. It's not my favorite. You can add music. They have music that you can add in, so that's kind of nice. There are different things that you can do with the theme and stuff, but just not a whole lot, okay? It is set up for you so that you can get going, and it kind of tells you, you know, what down here, it tells you what you might want to be doing next, like you're showing it, how did it happen, why am I sharing it, call to action, those types of things. So Adobe Spark is limited when it comes to making something like this, okay? So it just depends on what you want to have your students do. And again, they can share it, they can publish, or they can invite. And again, they can invite you, or they can download it. If you want them to download it, just depends on what they want to do. This one's very intuitive. It has very few videos. I mean, very few options on it, so it's not something that they get bogged down on, okay? There's a photo collage that they can go in and do, and so they can choose photos or they can upload their own photos. There is presentation, and the interesting thing about this presentation is it's a scroll down presentation. So as they're adding the title and the subtitle and the picture. So it's kind of like what they were doing before. Again, very limited. They click the plus sign, they can add a photo, they can add some new things to it. Again, you're adding things that Adobe has, or you're uploading your own. A lot of my students really prefer this one because it is so limited in what they can do. So there's only so much that they can do when they're using Adobe. However, if you have some that you're just trying to ease them from Google Slides to another format to show them this is something else that you can use that's not Google Slides, this kind of turns your slides into this presentation, you can have them try this out and they can see how they like it and if they like it. And it just teaches them to be kind of intuitive with technology, and you know, it's plus sign, it's add some text, it's add some pictures, it's resize some things, it's add in some music, it's add my voice if I want to. Not a lot of options, okay? But it's a good way for them to move on and to do something new aside from just doing Google Slides, all right? So now I have another one. This one, in my opinion, is completely and utterly complicated, and I absolutely love it. I love complicated things. This one is Powtoon, and I have them go to Powtoon for Education. And here we go. Powtoon. So I'm going to log in because I have an account. Again, you can have them create their own account with their Google and they can use it. Powtoon has a ton of options, a phenomenal amount of options, a ridiculous amount of options. So it can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming for somebody who's new to technology, who's not accustomed to using technology, okay? This creates a video for you. So they have all of these different templates that you can choose from. Again, just like anything else, there are pro templates that you would have to pay for. So the kids are going to have to scroll through them and try to decide what template do I want to use for, so that I can choose one that's not going to charge me anything. So a lot of the times I show them the 5 facts one. It's great. This one is free. There's Student Resume that's free. There's a Blue Sky board that's free. What else is free? Not a whole lot is free. Okay, I got it. There's a teacher intro, but that's for teachers because I picked the teacher. Okay, so they choose one of these different templates. They can come back. They can go to work. They can go to personal and go to all, and they can see any number of these. And the nice thing about this is they can preview it ahead of time to see if it's something that they like. So let's say they liked this product promotion one. They liked the little gears. Well, they can preview it before they use it. Oh, yeah, I like that music. Okay, it's cute. Okay, that's what that's going to look like. And so it's going to show them a short clip of the video and what it looks like. All right, I like it. Okay, so maybe I need a few minutes to decide what I like or what I want to use, and I can go through and I can preview them and decide what it is that I want to use, and then I can go in and I can begin editing that. Okay, so I'm going to pick one. I'm going to pick Merry Christmas. All right, and then you have to wait for it to load. This is very heavy with text and with video, and so this does take quite a long time to load, and you have to be patient. And I got it. I don't want you to show me that. Okay. So this is set up on the side over here, just like a slideshow. All right. When they're done, it will play like a video. You'll see the play option down here, and it will play until it becomes a video, and it can show you how to play just through this particular slide. Okay. And it'll just keep playing for you all the way through. All right. So let's say I'm on this slide and I love the bells jingling. That's great. It's wonderful. But I want to add some other things. So up at the top, there's the option to edit, or there's the option to create. Okay. When you go to create, you want to go to create because create pulls up this full timeline over here of all the numerous things you can do. So now I'm inundated with all of these things I can do. I can add more text. I can add characters. I can add props, shapes, images, videos, sound. Okay. So let's say there's a character. Got it. I don't want to build a character. I just want to search a character. Let's say I'm looking for Santa. I don't know that Santa's going to be there, but let's say I'm looking for Santa. Nope, no characters. Okay, it'll tell me there's no characters. There's some in props over here. Oh, well, maybe I like that. Okay, that one's pro. I can't use it. Oh, there's some backgrounds with Santa. Well, maybe instead of having Santa as that, maybe I want to add him as a background. Let's see, what have we got? So I add my Santa. Oh, okay. 'Tis the season of bells jingling, and now I have my Santa background. That looks great. Okay. So then I play my slide from the beginning and see what it looks like. Here we go. Oh, it's so great. It's so much stuff. That's wonderful. All right, now let me go back. Now, there's a timeline under each one of the video sections. So as you see, 'Tis the Season comes up first. Then the next thing to come up is Of. Then we have bells jingling. Okay. And then finally we have the bells that jingle. Okay. So it shows them on the timeline where everything begins and where it's going to pop up on the screen, and then how long it's going to take until it gets to the end of the slide. This slide is 6 seconds long. Okay. So if I wanted to, I can add seconds over here and I can make this longer. Say I wanted to add and make it 8 seconds long, because when I'm reading 'Tis the Season of Bells Jingling, I cannot read all of that in 6 seconds. So what this helps the student do is, if they've written something on their slide and it's a little bit longer, they can add some time. So I have them practice. So again, they take this little cursor and they bring it back to the 0 seconds. Where's the start? And then they play it. 'Tis the season of bells jingling. Okay. And then they think, was that enough time for me to read what was on the slide? Yes, I think it was. Okay. So then if they wanted to add more information, they could add more information. Then they go to the next slide. 'Tis the season of lights twinkling. Okay, again, this is already added. I'm just kind of showing you a preset template. There's all kinds of things that they can do. But let's say instead of lights twinkling, maybe they wanted to change it to say ornaments hanging. Okay. The thing about that is it's on there twice. So you get it once, twice, so that you're getting this look behind it, so that you're getting that it looks like it's got a shadow. So I have to fix that. And then I have to line it up so that I'm getting that little shadow again. So again, they're learning how to fix the text, how to line it up. So they've got it and they can see these are the elements that are coming in, 'tis and of, and these are jingling right here. And then this is the lights that are hanging, or we're saying the ornaments that are hanging. Okay. And so that's in there. And then let's see, what's this? Santa. Oh, there's a Santa. And so maybe they just love Santa and they just want to put Santa in there. Okay. So Santa's in there, and this is only 4 seconds long. That's definitely not long enough. So I'm adding some seconds on there. And now I go and let me see what this looks like. Oh, it's lovely. But maybe they decide that they don't like it. Like in the first slide, all of these things weren't jumbled together and they didn't come up like this. So I don't want it to be all jumbled together like this. So what can I do? Well, I can take this and I can take this of, and it'll show up. And so now the of is the first thing on the stack, and I can move it over. Okay. So now in this stack, I've got 'tis the season and I've got the bells. Well, I don't want the bells to be right on top of 'tis the season. So I'm going to move that over maybe to here. Okay. But now I've got all of these things clumped up right here. The ornaments, oh, that is too much. Okay. So I want the of, and then the bells, and then I want the ornaments, and then I want these little hanging things to come on. So I'm going to drag this over some more. And then I'm going to get ornaments, and I'm going to drag this to 2 seconds. And I'm going to get this second ornament so that I have this shadow going on, and I'm going to drag this to 2 seconds. So they can drag things anywhere within the timeline so that it pops up. Then they can come back to the beginning of the slide, and they can play it and see what it looks like. Oh, see, now it comes in a different order. Well, let me see. I want to see how it looks all together with my first slide. So I come back, I click on my first slide, I move the arrow over, I click play, and I watch it. 'Tis the season of bells jingling. Yay! Thumbs up from Santa. 'Tis the season of ornaments hanging. And now the ornaments come in. Oh my goodness, that's great. I like the way that it's turning out, okay? So they're going through each of these templates, and this adds Santa because this was only a few seconds and this Santa was longer than that. So if they added something and they don't like it, they can click on the delete button. The trash can always means delete, so remove it, get rid of it, okay? And then they can come to the next slide and the next slide and the next slide, and they're just adding things onto it. And they can add all kinds of things. They can add different characters, and it just depends on what's available, right? So they have to learn how to be flexible in what they want. Because if they upload something into here, the thing about it is if they're uploading and they want a certain character, it may have a background that doesn't go with what they're going with. They may not find some clip art that's transparent that they can use. So I do try to encourage them to use things and to find things that are in here already so that they can use them. And maybe they searched for Santa and that didn't work, so maybe they search for Christmas and see if that works. Nope, still no characters. There's some props. Oh, okay. So there's some props. I could put this, maybe I could put this in here. I just want to throw that up in there, and then, you know, I can move it around and I can change the direction that it is. It's just a floating little, there we go. I like that, so that it's right there. Okay. And I could swap it out if I don't like it, and I can flip it if I don't like it that direction. Okay. So you can do all kinds of things with the props, with the images, with the shapes. Okay. And you just kind of look through and decide what it is you want to add. This has so many options. Again, they can get inundated. So I would suggest that you make one first so that when they have questions and they're trying to add new things and they're trying to do additional things, that they can come and ask you about this. Let me look at some of my Powtoons. This is my Merry Christmas. The students have shared Powtoons with me because they didn't know exactly what to do and how to download it the way they were supposed to. So I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute, but let me show you one that I worked on just as an example for the students. It just takes it, again, it takes it a little while to load. This one's a very heavy technology. So I did festivals around the world. I just started this as an example for them. You can hear the music. You can choose different kinds of music. You can put different types of text in there. I did this one from scratch just because I wanted to see what it was like and what all I could add in there. So I added all different kinds of text boxes and things so that they could see what it was. I like the music. So as you can see, it keeps going. It's a cute little video. all different kinds of things. The nice thing about doing this along with the students is a lot of the time what I'll do when we're in the classroom is I will be on my Powtoon for whatever it is that they're creating. I'm creating my own Powtoon as well. And I have it displayed up on the screen so that they can see, so that they can get some ideas of their own of what they want to do. Okay. So when they're done, let's say they're done with this Christmas one, again, you can see up here, there's a share option. So they can go to share and they can copy this and they can share it. They can send you an email with this for you to look at. The best thing to do is to publish it. Okay. I usually suggest that they publish it. They can download it as a PowerPoint, but then you don't get, it's not as fun. A PDF is not as fun. So, I usually have them downloaded as a Powtoon. And then it's Merry Christmas, and it's education, and it's unlisted. But you have to, so you have to leave it public, and you go to next. And then you would have to go to pro if you want to upgrade. So they have to know that anytime there's a little lock, okay, and then you publish it with the watermark that just says it's by Powtoon. Do, 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 do. And then it takes it a minute to publish it. And then now that it's published, you go to publish options. And you can update your player page. If they want to put it on their YouTube, they can. They have a YouTube. Okay. You can also get the PDF and the PowerPoint. Again, not so fun. You can go to YouTube and make it a YouTube video if you want to. So there's all kinds of things that they can do. And then they can get a link to it, share, copy the URL and share that to somebody. They can email it. Okay. Usually I just have them copy the URL and then they put it in, they put the URL in the assignment and they say, this is my Powtoon that I created. Here's my URL, and you can go and see that. And then you see they have the option to have movie or slideshow. Slideshow again is not as dynamic. So I usually encourage them to have the movie so that they can have the music on there and have all of the different things that they want to do. So this is a lot for them to learn to do. It's a lot of different things for them to drag and drop. I recommend when you're using Powtoon that, again, you practice first with it so that when they have questions, you can answer some of their questions. Sometimes when it's students that I know that tend to be a little more tech savvy and they'll ask me a question about it, I'll ask them if they've tried it out first. You know, have you tried it? The biggest thing that I always see is they need to be in create instead of edit. They need to be in create so that they're getting all of those options on the side, okay? And then when they have all of those options on the side, they can create a magnificent video that they're using to elaborate on something. One of the things we did in 6th grade was I had them look up things on the periodic table and who discovered them and what they were used for in the real world, and where these elements were found within the biospheres, whether it was in the hydrosphere or the biosphere or the lithosphere, and we looked to see where they were in the world. And so they created then a video that elaborated on the basic periodic table, but added more to that so that they could talk more about what the periodic table elements were used for and what's the purpose of it and how do we use it and how do we look up elements and how did scientists add elements to it. So they elaborated on that. So they weren't just doing a basic, this is what a periodic table is. And the Powtoon was great. Again, it takes time. You have to allow them time. It's one of the things that I'm really asking you to do is if you're gonna do these types of things and this project-based type of learning and you're gonna use these technologies, you have to give the students time to use them in the classroom and to practice them and to watch you using them so that they can get used to it. But it comes really easily if you do project-based a lot. You're just building that time in, and you're talking about the content, and you're asking the questions, and you're using this creativity where you're elaborating. And so you're GTifying these lessons that you would do normally with your pre-AP class or your gen ed class, and you're just kind of amping it up a little bit. Okay, so that's the purpose of using these technologies. So we've looked at Storyboard That, where they can create some kind of comic strip, and that's just a drag and drop and fix however you want and change and manipulate how you want, but really simple. We have looked at Adobe Spark, which is super, super basic. Again, a new starting point if you're jumping somebody from Google Slides and you want them to kind of let go of that hold that they have on Google Slides and move to something else, then you're looking at Adobe Spark. And then we looked at Powtoon, which has a ton of different things. And I would say just start small. You learn, they learn, create something from there. And then as you get better at it, or as they get better at them, let them teach you, let them show you, let them show the class, hey, I just learned how to do this really great thing. And so it gives them the opportunity to talk and share with one another as well. Okay. So that is the elaboration part. I'm going to talk a little bit about some project-based learning and how to do creativity with projects in the classroom and to build in that technology piece for that last little bit. And then you're going to be all done with training. So I hope you've been enjoying this so far. Go stretch your legs, take a little break, and we'll move on to the final piece.